There's a truth that very few dare to face. A truth hidden behind economic headlines, behind GDP numbers, budget deficits, and bailout packages we hear about every day. A simple yet terrifying truth. Many governments are running a Ponzi scheme. This is not a personal financial scam. It's a massive machine, orchestrated by an entire system that you can't even see. Where governments borrow from the future, just to buy temporary stability in the present. A Ponzi scheme is a false promise. It doesn't create real value. It simply uses money from the next person to pay the one before them. And it relies on one thing: faith. As long as there's no doubt, the system holds. But if just one link in the chain falters, everything collapses, and you won't even see it coming. Now, imagine this is no longer a game played by one individual, but an entire nation, a government, and central banks. They borrow more to pay off the old debts. They overspend, believing that someone, somewhere will step in to take over. But they might not realize they're gambling with fate. A never-ending cycle, until the trust breaks and everything descends into darkness. Argentina, a nation living on credit for decades, and then defaulted in 2001, 2014, and 2020. An endless debt addiction. Venezuela, once the wealthiest country in South America. Then they printed money to pay their debts, and their currency became worthless. Greece, a civilization that seemed invincible, but when no one would lend them money anymore, they fell into a deep abyss, never to recover. What's common in all of these nations? The governments survive, but the people perish. Today, the Ponzi scheme has become a global strategy. America, the nation that prints more money than anyone else in the world, now carries a public debt of over $34 trillion. Japan, with a debt that exceeds 260% of its GDP, the highest in the G7. Italy, the third largest economy in Europe, still struggling under a debt no one wants to buy. All of them are relying on one thing: faith. They believe there will always be someone to lend them more money. But what happens when there's no one left? Capitalism once stemmed from creativity, from labor, from real value. But now it thrives on debt, speculation, and overconsumption. We've shifted from production to maximizing profits, from saving to buy now, pay later. And we've built a world of consumption on sand, not on solid foundations. A world with no future. There were those who warned us long ago. They said, we're living in a huge financial bubble. But they were ridiculed, pushed aside, because the truth is always uncomfortable. Everyone wants to believe that tomorrow will be fine, everything will get better. But that's not hope. That's an illusion. If you think this won't happen in my country, then you're believing in the biggest illusion of all. All Ponzi schemes, whether by Bernie Madoff or by governments, have one common end: collapse. Not because there's no money, but because there's no trust, no transparency, and no courage to change. We're living in a massive delusion, built on debt paper and the eerie silence of the masses. But you can be different. Don't be the last one to wake up in the ruins of a system that's been decaying for far too long. Be the first to say, we need change. Share this video if you care about the future. Send it to someone you trust and start a real conversation. Because the future is something we can't borrow any longer. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.